Hi, let's talk about experiments and growth teams. Firstly, just to remind you that there are several ways how we can test growth hypotheses, and experiment only one of them. So let's talk about experiments first. So Bezos, he said that the reason why Amazon is so successful just because they do monthly, weekly, and daily lots of experiments. So they get knowledge and use this knowledge. And to understand success of Amazon, just go to the stock market and see how much company costs. Also, Russian entrepreneur Andrei Krivenko said that experiment is like a bullet. And with the bullet, they just test if it works or not. And when it works, they put like a cannonballs. So it's really classic words to understand. We need to test very cheap, and if it works, we all power put here. And by the way, the also company bootstraps was from us, one small shop to big network, and they also always do experiments daily, weekly, and monthly with new products, new ways of selling, and etc. Also Twitter. Once they changed marketing lead, they start doing experiments more often. As you see, they start doing experiments 20 times more often. And they really made big changes with authorization, onboardings, blah, blah, blah. And you see how growth was changed. So really, Twitter was accelerating once they start using experiments on daily basis. Also, just to understand what is growth team, just to look at this 2050, how many people work on growth team in Airbnb. I already use examples from Airbnb, how they growth hack the market. And also, can you imagine, still now in many companies, they don't know the word growth hacking or growth team, when Airbnb 8 years ago had such big team only on growth team. Now, of course, team is like 10 times bigger. Of course, Facebook has about 2,000 people in growth. So, of course, every company has growth teams. Of course, Uber, of course, have a Tesla testing with experiments. Of course, Slack. So every company that have huge amount of data, of course, they do experiments every day. There are no successful companies in Silicon Valley, big ones who had a lot of data, who doesn't use any growth hacking methods or do not have growth team. So growth team usually is between product and marketing. So product team usually focus on product, how to provide maximum value for customer. Of course, also how to earn this product. Marketing team, of course, how to get more customers. And growth team focus like on onboardings and growth hacking, some metrics. So some projects, so different projects have their own problems, and growth teams solving these problems. So they do not make a product better, but sometimes also they do, but they are somewhere between. And what is important in big corporations, growth teams is usually like separate teams. It could be like 1 person, could be 10 person, can be, as you see, hundreds or thousands of people just in a growth team. And in a small companies, of course, could be the same owner. He has 25,000 of responsibilities. So growth is one more. So usually, just to understand, growth is one more team. At the beginning, you can use existing people, but of course, let's say how growth hackers thinks. For example, you need to increase revenue double. So product owner thinks like, we need to provide more value for customers. We need more customers. We need to understand what to do. We need to create specific features for specific audience, or make some features that everybody needs to provide more value for customers, and slowly maybe upgrade some customers from smaller packages to bigger packages, and something like that. Maybe small price is changing. Growth hackers do things absolutely different. They usually, maybe if you need double growth, maybe we can, I don't know, increase price double or maybe 5 times. Or maybe if you increase price 10 times and decrease 80% of customers, it's still double growth. Yes. Or maybe we can decrease price 5 times and see if we increase our sales 10 times. So maybe do some critical changes. So they slowly testing, and if it works, they scale it. So the different type of thinking. Growth hacking is usually fast growth. Product is usually about long term, as marketing as well. So see you in the next video. And just to remind you, this is only theoretical parts. You need to also listen practical parts as well. And on the next video, I will describe you about hypothesis more deeply.